Welcome back to Titleholder Talks with Emily. I'm so happy to have you all with me on this episode today. Titleholder Talks with Emily is a podcast all about featuring the stories and experiences of title holders across all pageant systems. Today's guest is a very, very special guest, as the first podcast that I was ever on as Miss Connecticut's teen was her podcast, so I'm so excited to interview her today and be the one asking her the questions. See you when she joins. Hi, everyone. So we have a very special guest today, and actually, I was on her podcast, the first ever podcast that I did. So it's cool that we're now swapping podcasts. So, Keira, if you want to introduce yourself, go right ahead.
Of course. Hi, everyone. I am Keira Bixler, and I am your Miss California's Teen 2024. It's so great to be back with you, Emily. Emily was on my podcast probably about 6 months ago, I would say now. And so it's fun to have like a little deja vu moment.
Yes, absolutely. I had a great time. And like I said, it was the first podcast I was ever on. So that kind of like inspired me to make my own. So, it's great to have you on. And if you want to jump right into the questions, I have the first question ready. And how did you get your start in pageantry and in the Miss America opportunity specifically?
I watched my very first Miss America local when I was probably about 3 years old. It was the local in my area, Miss Tulare County, and I fell in love with the girls on stage, the empowerment. I knew I wanted to do that someday. And so my mom started to volunteer. And so through all of that experience, I later on became what was then called a princess, now a little sister in the organization. And I did that from the time I was about 8 to 12 years old, both at the local level and then twice at the state level. I learned so much. These girls were my mentors. Of course, you never compete at that age, but it allowed me to see what the job really was. And so when I was 16, I competed for the very first time at the state level. I went straight to state because that was like a weird COVID year. And I had the absolute best experience. It was so crazy. I was, I believe, just out of my sophomore year of high school, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I loved every second. And I ended up placing second runner up. And then 2 years later, I'm back and I'm Miss California's teen.
That is so exciting. And I know when we chatted about 6 or 7 months ago, we shared that we had similar stories getting our start in pageantry and the Miss America opportunity. I was also once then called a princess, and then we actually started competing the same year too, which is really funny because I started competing in 2022 as well. And it was the at large year. So I went at large, then I won my local, and then I won my state last year. But it's really awesome to see that we have similar experiences getting our start within, the Miss America opportunity. Because I know a lot of girls actually start off as what was then princesses or now the Little Sister program. So it's awesome to see that, there's so many people that have been around for such a long time.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm a firm believer that that Little Sisters program is where it all starts. So, like for example, this past weekend I was at Miss Colorado and they have their tea party with all the little sisters and Miss America was there, and I just remember that experience being so magical as a kid. And so, if I'm able to provide that life-changing experience for another little girl and maybe she'll compete someday too, like that makes my whole year worthwhile.
Absolutely. And I know for me, and I'm sure you're going to experience this throughout your year, and you probably already have, but one of the best parts of, having a title, even at the state, local, national level, was being able to connect with the younger generation and the young girls and say, this could be you one day. And I'm sure you're going to experience that. And I've seen pictures, so I'm sure you already have that sort of experience, but, being a state title holder is a whole nother level, and they just love to see a princess. So
So cool, yeah. It's the absolute
absolutely.
best.
Yes, yes. So, jumping into some more questions, talk to us a little bit about your community service initiative. Tell us what it is and how you got it started.
So my service initiative is called Imagine with Kira, the Power of Literacy. Growing up, I loved to read so much. And then with my introduction to the Miss America opportunity, watching those girls on stage promote something that they were so passionate about, at the age of, I think, 5, I wanted to do the exact same thing. I looked up to them so much. And so I looked at my passion for reading as a kid. I would read every night with my parents. And when I learned that other kids didn't have that same opportunity to explore their future through books or even to read at all. I wanted to do something. So that year, instead of receiving presents for my birthday, I asked my friends to donate books to the local pediatric hospital in our area. And so we more than doubled the size of their pediatric hospital library. And that was such a fun experience getting to interact with all of these children who were very sick, and allowing them to have a little bit of joy in their lives. And then from there, I was contacted by Read for Life. And with them, I think I've collected, I want to say 40,000 books. They're gently used books. I clean them, you put a little Read for Life stamp on them, and you send them out to children in need in book deserts. And then from there, collaborated with the Tulare County Office of Education on a $5 million grant from the California Department of Education. And most recently, I am re-releasing my children's book, Imagine with Keira, originally written when I was in fifth grade, but we're updating it this year. There's new graphics, and I've raised, I believe, $70,000 now to release 10,000 copies into the state of California. And tomorrow, actually, I will be picking up all 10,000 copies of that book. So it's going to be a very busy day, but I'm quite excited.
That's so wonderful to see that, not only have you done so much with your community service initiative in the few weeks, months that you have been Miss California's teen, but you also were able to start it at such a young age and kind of build it up to where it is today. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I initially, my service initiative did just start because I love to read. But like now, as I get older, and I do know the statistics behind it, I worked as the youth ambassador for the United Way of Tulare County, and I understand that even beyond literacy itself, when you are able to give kids a story that they can look up to in life, just like I had with the Miss America opportunity, it really can change their life, and it can set them on a direction of knowing that their story is powerful too. And so that's been a fun new exploration of this new part of my service initiative recently.
Absolutely. And I know my service initiative had nothing to do with literacy and reading, but I love to read. But I agree with you when you say like telling your story is so important, especially when you're trying to reach younger children. It just helps them to see things from your eyes and help them to really get involved in whatever you're passionate about.
Definitely.
So, jumping into a little bit more fun questions, what was your favorite memory that you made at your state competition this past year?
Ooh, that's such a great question. So my first runner-up is actually my roommate at Berkeley this fall, and I love her. Her name's Sienna Lester. We've been competing together for a couple years now, and she's just an incredible person. And so we were backstage. They had already announced the top five. We had already done our final question, and two of us were sent to one side of the stage, and the other three were on the other side of the stage. And it happened to be us two on one side of the stage together. And so we were holding hands, and we were together, and it was both of our last years to compete. We were both 18. And so we knew that whoever it was, we were going to support each other fully. And that's really what the sisterhood is about. And so being able to have that moment with her before we went on stage and then holding her hands on stage, knowing that one of us is going to be Miss California's teen and going to Miss America, there's nobody else I would have rather shared that moment with.
That is so wonderful. And I know, speaking personally from just being at Miss America's Teen 6 months ago, that sisterhood is literally the best part of not only the
Yep.
Miss America opportunity, but the entire competition itself. Like, we were so preoccupied with dancing, having fun together that we didn't even like worry about who was going to win Miss America's Teen. We were happy, we were living life. And so I'm glad to hear that, all the way across the country from Connecticut to California, the sisterhood is strong.
Oh, it's the best. Even you can see in the background. So, I don't know like how other states do it, but in my area, when I won my local title, there was one other teen crowned with me as well. And so she's like my sister teen, like kind of for the year. And you can see in my crowning video, she's like jumping up and down, and like her and my best friend who happened to compete last year, I convinced her to compete. They were both just sobbing, and like that's what it's all about. I know that I would have been the exact same way if the crown would have gone to them that day. And so seeing the excitement for somebody else, it's such a mature and impactful aspect of the Miss America opportunity.
I 100% agree. And I know I also, in my crowning moment, everybody was jumping up and down, crying, laughing, screaming. And that hug moment at the end when you're coming down the stage or the runway and you turn around and everybody runs to hug you, that is literally like the icing on the cake, especially right after your crown and they announce your name. So, again, I just love hearing all the sisterhood stories and seeing everybody just be best friends because that's honestly what pageantry to me is all about.
100%.
So, to keep on with competition and, the fun questions and the favorites, what is your favorite phase of competition and why is that your favorite phase?
Ooh, there's so many. I love pretty much every phase of competition for different reasons, but my initial love started with interview. So my mom was the interview coach in like the local Miss America pageant in my area. And so growing up, watching these girls practice their interview every single week, I saw that the interview is the closest phase of competition to the job. That's what they go out into the community and they do. They talk to people, they connect with other people, and there's no better way to do that in an interview with, I don't know, 5 to 7 random people from entirely different walks of life. And so, as I started competing in this organization and honing in my interview, I had the opportunity to work with some incredible coaches. My first one being Tony Moises. He was kind of known in the organization for being a very successful volunteer interview coach. And so, working with him, I felt like a big girl for the first time. But unfortunately, he actually passed away of cardiac arrest. Um, I believe I was on my 16th birthday, a few months before my very first Miss America competition. And so it was because of that that I was able to work with the American Heart Association, become a certified CPR instructor, and now I'm able to go across the state of California, continuing his legacy of being able to share young women's stories, and then, of course, teaching CPR along with that. So, being able to bring that aspect into the interview room is probably my favorite part. So, every time I've won interview, I always believe that he was on stage with me. He was back in that interview room with me. He was there every step of the way. So, every single interview award I've won, I completely dedicate to him.
That is so beyond special, and I love to hear that story. I feel like everybody has obviously a different favorite phase of competition, excuse me, but also, especially going into interview, I won the overall interview at Miss Connecticut's teen the year that I won, but also, not even just then, but at Miss America's teen and in my final interview as Miss Connecticut's teen, I went into the room and I just felt a presence that whenever somebody had asked me about my service initiative, because I made my service initiative Alzheimer's awareness because of both my great grandmothers had it, the first question that I got at Miss America's teen in the interview was about my great grandmothers and talking a little bit more about how that affected me and why I wanted to choose Alzheimer's as my community service initiative. And I just felt like a presence. I was like, oh, yep, they're here with me. They're going to guide me through that interview. And I've talked to a lot of other, local, state, and national title holders across organizations. And they say that they have similar experiences like that. And I think that's so special that, not only myself and you have those experiences, but other girls across the country do as well.
Absolutely. They're always there with you, especially in the interview room. They want you to share your story.
For sure. And they definitely help you share your story too.
Absolutely.
What is your favorite point of the crown and why?
Oh my goodness. Style, service, scholarship, success, sister. It's so hard. I love all of them for different reasons. Service is like the initial one that I go to, but I've already talked about that quite a bit. So I want to focus on scholarship for a minute because I believe that really is, in many ways, the core of why this organization started, and its impact, why so many young women decide to compete. And so for me, that scholarship aspect has just been amazing. I am going to UC Berkeley in the fall as a double major in econ and media studies with a minor in dance. And college is very expensive. Having that opportunity to not only have over $15,000 in scholarships that I won through the Miss America opportunity, but the opportunities that further my career every day are things that I cannot find anywhere else. Learning how to fundraise through this organization, learning how to speak on stage, learning how to present yourself. I want to become the CEO of a national news network someday and maybe even run for public office. And so having those opportunities, even beyond the actual scholarship money itself, those are scholarship opportunities that will take you so far in life. Those experiences are just like invaluable. It's amazing.
Absolutely, 100% agree. Initially, scholarship was the reason why I started competing in the Miss America opportunity because I was a junior in high school when I started competing. And I knew that I was going to college soon and I needed scholarship money to, help me pay my way. Because, like you said, college is expensive today in these days, excuse me. But the Miss America opportunity and even other pageant systems have started to kind of adopt what the Miss America opportunity has done with scholarships, and it's so helpful. But since you mentioned scholarship and you kind of touched on it a little bit, my next question for you was what are you planning to do with the scholarship money that you have earned with your time in the Miss America opportunity, the Miss America's Teen program? And since you touched that on that a little bit, if there's anything else that, post undergrad you want to do or law school or anything like that, yeah, give us a little bit about what you want to do with your scholarship money.
Yes. So my scholarship money will probably be going to my time at UC Berkeley. However, I do also plan on going to law school and obtaining my Juris Doctorate. My dream school is Yale Law, but we'll see. So we're working towards that. I will be a regular freshman at UC Berkeley, living in the dorms. I was actually going on Amazon Prime a few minutes ago to order a few things that while they were on sale. But I'm very excited for my very first year of college. I will be meeting with a vice chancellor at Berkeley in, I believe, just about a week to talk about what this opportunity is. They're very excited to work with me, and I'm so grateful that they are willing to embrace the Miss America opportunity, give me chances to really embrace this platform, not only on the UC Berkeley campus, but also be traveling across the state of California while also being a college student.
That is so wonderful to hear. I mean, I can obviously agree. I was Miss Connecticut's teen while I was in my freshman year at Springfield College. And while, you are in the same state as your college, I was traveling from Massachusetts to Connecticut back and forth, but I totally get it. You have so much more free time than you think when you're in college, especially your freshman year. So you're going to have a lot of time to do so many activities while you're up at school, but also be Miss California's teen and get to do so many things in that aspect. So I think it's so awesome. And if you end up going to law at Yale Law, you need to come visit because Yale is in
Be
Connecticut.
so close. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. I'm so excited to be at Berkeley. And of course, I chose Berkeley. I committed to Berkeley long before I knew that I was going to become Miss California's teen. But Berkeley is actually the very first university in California. So it is the California University. So it's kind of fun to be Miss California's teen at the California University. It worked out just perfectly. It's awesome.
For sure. And now you get to promote it as Miss California's teen, which is even better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, what have you been able to accomplish with your title so far? I know you have only been Miss California's teen for about 1 month this past weekend. I
Yeah.
saw your post. But what have you been able to accomplish so far, and what are you planning to do with your title?
Absolutely. So the past month, let me walk you through my month. So I got crowned, and then the next 2 days, we still had some phases of competition for the Miss. So I was able to perform my talent, speak, interact with the audience for those 2 days, and then, of course, see my Miss Kimberly get crowned. I absolutely love her. We've competed together for the past few years, and so watching her achieve her dream was so special. And the next day, we met with my new directors. One of them, actually, it's kind of deja vu. He was also my local director. So there's new directors in California this year. They're the youngest directors in the nation. They are amazing. I love them, both Marissa and Adam. Little shout out to them. They're so great. So I met with them and my team, and we planned out my year a little bit. I've had the opportunity to work with some incredible people, including Dr. Kennedy Garcia as an empowerment coach, Carrie Valen as another pageant coach. They just have such a great team. And then from there, I immediately left for Santa Barbara for a media conference. And that was kind of a focus on my career that I had booked prior to becoming Miss California's teen, but I was still down there in the gym every day, promoting all my content, planning out my year during that trip. And then, let's see, I came home, I packed, and I went to Texas for Miss Texas Week. And that was so cool. I actually got to go to a local in Texas when I was a local title holder. I just happened to be there for a Rebel event. And so seeing those girls compete on stage and their growth over the past 6 months or so, that was so fun to see. And I'm so proud of all of them. They're just amazing. And shout out to our new Miss Texas and Miss Texas teen. I'm so excited for their year. And then I came home again, and then I went pretty far across California to a 4th of July parade where I got to sing the national anthem and interact with the audience. It was actually the very first parade I ever went to as a kid. And so having that full circle moment was really, really special. And being able to hand out my autograph cards and talk to these kids about the importance of reading, it was those are my favorite interactions where they're just one-on-one, they're very personal, and that kid can really feel like they connect to you. And then from there, I spent a couple days surfing and boogie boarding on the beach. And then I went back to my hometown to repack. And then I went to Miss Colorado, and where I got to hang out with Miss America and Miss Colorado, Miss Colorado's teen live. I love you so much. And I got to see our new title holders get crowned. And that was such a great experience. I loved every single second. And then while all of that was going on, I've been preparing for my time at UC Berkeley, working on collecting all of everything ready for my books to be picked up, all 10,000 copies, and then working on some other very special projects in literacy and with my talent that can't share quite yet, but they will be coming soon, I promise.
That is a busy month for sure, but you're getting stuff done and you're going for it. Hit the ground running. Wow.
Yeah, you only have 1 year, so I want to take every single one of those 365 days and just live them to the fullest because it's an opportunity like no other.
Absolutely. And it goes by very quick, I will tell you. So you're you're getting in those steps, you're getting in those miles because, you get crowned and then it's over in the blink of an eye. So do as much as you can, accomplish as much as you can, and you're gonna have the best time. And I see all of your social media content and you look like you're having the most fun. So
Thank you. Yeah, it's been so fun. I mean, even in the trip to Texas, beyond going to Miss Texas itself, my Miss and I got to spend a bunch of time in the Rebel store, and they were like, you can try on whatever you want and take photos in it. So they had the Taylor Swift outfit and like all these other awesome outfits. It was so fun. And then we went to Terry Costa and got to spend some time there in like this massive dress store. It was like, I think every 6-year-old girl's dream. It was so fun. So I'll actually be going back to Texas in just a few days for a Rebel casting call, slash their like end of the year cast party and everything, and hanging out with some of my sisters over there. So I love Texas. It's been so fun to visit them, not once, but now pretty much twice here pretty soon. And it's just been like beyond Keira now loving this experience. 6-year-old Keira is just screaming.
absolutely. One of the best parts again is, making your younger self proud and you're doing everything right, girl. You're making your younger self proud. She's beaming with pride. So
Oh, thank you so much.
of course, of course. So now for the big question, the big topic, Miss America's Teen. What are you most looking forward to ahead of the Miss America's Teen competition? And, going into it, you've seen so many of the girls, especially in my year. You interviewed us, you talked to us about it, you were there, you were able to watch it. What are you most looking forward to ahead of the Miss America's Teen competition?
There are so many things, but one thing that I'm really excited to do, both leading up to the competition and at Miss America Week, is being able to share my story within the organization, outside of the organization, and my plan. I truly believe that I'm a success story of the Miss America opportunity. I've grown up being a part of it, and like a little tidbit, there was a piece of advice given to me by last year's Miss Maryland's teen, Rachel, and we were talking at the Red Heart Gala last year when I was there to watch Miss America, and she said, Keira, Miss America, it's a new day. They don't know what they're looking for yet in their teen, what that new brand is going to be. Miss America is an iconic symbol, but this teen program is still developing in a very new way. So go out there and show them what they're looking for. And that was something that I took back to my state competition. In past years, I would try to mold myself into what past Miss Californias would be. But this year, I decided to do something totally different. My talent is very unique. My brand is something that they haven't really seen before in California. And so being able to present that in the interview room, on stage, and to the audience, I think it set me apart as a contestant. And so I'm hoping to do the exact same thing at Miss America, to share my story, and to show really who I am as Keira.
That is such a unique answer, but I absolutely love it. Again, going into Miss America's Teen Week, obviously you were there, you saw a lot of it. There's so much that goes on, so many fun activities, competition behind the scenes, but it's honestly so, so much fun. And I'm so excited for you. And, Rachel, gotta give a shout out to Rachel, my Miss Maryland's teen, our future president. That's what we said at Miss America's Teen. She wore her President Barbie sash. We're like, yep, that's our future president right there. He gives great advice, but honestly, like that's so true. Going into Miss America's Teen this next upcoming year, it's going to be the 20th anniversary. And so your class is so incredibly special. And the fact that you already have, your brand plan, your marketing plan, and that you want to go into it and share your story, I think is really, really unique and it's really special. And I think it will set you apart from the judges. And who will be our 20th anniversary Miss America's Teen? We will see.
We will see, yeah. And then beyond that, of course, I want to make as many connections with people as I possibly can. I remember being what was then called a princess, now a little sister. I believe it was my last year as a princess, and I got partnered up with my teen to walk on stage with her in evening gown. And she ended up winning evening gown that night. That was back when evening gown and onstage question were together. And she talked on stage about her story with bullying. And listening to her be so strong in her convictions. She knew what needed to happen and she had a plan. And watching her on stage that night, it connected something for me. It made me realize that like she may be at the time, I don't know, I think she was probably about 16, but she could have such an impact on people's lives. And so I want to do that exact same thing. Shout out to her. Her name's Cameron Doan. She was, I believe, Miss California's Outstanding Teen. I can't remember, 2018, I want to say. She's a phenomenal human being. And so it's been so great to have role models like that. And so I hope to do that exact same thing for people, both here in California and then also at Miss America.
For sure. And I mean, now you and Cameron are sister queens, so she can
So
give you
cool.
advice and help you out when you're going to Miss America's Teen. And, walking on that stage is so special in itself. But I mean, you already have a plan. You're ready. So I hope you have the best time. And I'm hoping that I will be able to come this year to
I
watch you
would love
and
to
cheer you.
have you there. That'd be
Yes.
so cool. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I really hope so. Especially, I know that Erica was just crowned too, so there'll be a few of us that you know, and so that'd be so fun.
Yes, I hope that I'm able to come, wherever it is. Miss Puerto Rico is this weekend. And so then the dates and the times and the place will all be announced after this weekend. So hopefully I'll have enough time to, plan and come and cheer you guys on because it was so special for me to, be competing last year and be on stage. But I feel like it'll be a totally different experience to be able to go and watch and actually cheer on people that I know and that are my friends. So rooting
Absolutely.
for you.
A lot more serene, I have to say. Not as stressful. I felt so bad for you guys. I mean, of course, you guys are having an amazing week, but I knew that the pressure was on, so I was trying to give you all hugs when I could.
Yes. But that's another thing is, being a contestant versus being an audience member, it's obviously very different. But a piece of advice for you, make the most of the week and just be
Yep.
confident in yourself so that you don't even need to worry about, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous, so that you can just have the best time and you can be serene while you're on stage versus, sitting in the audience and not having to worry about anything. It's like I said, a crazy week, but the more you take a deep breath, the more that you are yourself and you share your story and you're confident in yourself and you literally just take in every moment, you're going to have the best time and you're going to be so calm, I promise.
Thank you. Yeah, that's wonderful advice. I'm gonna be focusing a lot in the next few months on making sure that I can really enjoy that week and remember all the little details. I want to be as calm and as present as I possibly can be.
Absolutely. And we got that advice actually from Robin Fleming, our new CEO last year. Is the first day was orientation. She was like, just sit and live in the moment of this week because again, it's going to be gone like that. And you want to make the most of it, whether you win or not. So, yeah, I hope you have the best time ever. So,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
of course, of course. And so, going into our last question here, what advice would you give to any girls who are preparing to compete in their state or right now local competitions that are coming up soon?
I'm gonna go back to that interview coach. He had a little mantra that he would live by, and it's by Bruce Lee. It's just be water, my friend. And so when we think about water and the way that it can fill any container that it's in, if you try to hit or slice it water, it will just absorb. And so when you are able to be adaptable in that way and you're not rigid. So for example, in the interview room, if I had planned every single thing I was going to say in the interview room, I would be extremely rigid and brittle. But if you are like water and you are embracing the moment, you answer the questions fully, you understand and you listen to that person and you answer with what feels comfortable to you at that moment, you'll be so much more authentic in the interview room, and it will show what you will be as a title holder. And so when you're able to be water, you not only embrace in the interview room, but in all aspects of life, no matter what you are facing, you are able to change and adapt and embrace the situation, knowing that it will all work out in the end. And so when you compete in this organization, you might notice there's things that don't always make sense to you at the time. You know, why was this not my year? What can I work on? And so when you're able to look at that situation and be water, you're able to see what's going on. You're able to adapt and you're able to grow in the long run. And so also within that, you're able to really enjoy the moment. You know, when you are water, you're not bothered by every small thing that happens to you. And so that's my big advice. It's something that I knew throughout my entire journey in this opportunity, but I really embraced it this past year. And it was just life-changing in the way that I compete in this organization.
For sure. I think, again, that's such a unique answer and such a unique piece of advice. But I love getting to hear you say that after every one of your podcast episodes, and getting to actually hear an explanation for it. It's so awesome. But again, I hope anybody that's watching this that is maybe going to compete for your job next year, or any of your sister queens competing for Miss America's Teen, or anybody that's competing that's watching this and supporting you is able to take that piece of advice and really kind of live in it.
Absolutely. And I am such a firm believer that pageantry should be extremely accessible. So, to all of you out there listening, if you have any questions whatsoever, just reach out. I am always here. I've had some local girls already in my area reach out that are thinking about competing next year, asking me questions, and I want to be there for them. So, if you have any, please let me know. I'm 100% here for you all the time.
That is so beautiful and such a great way to end our interview. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had such a great time getting to talk to you and myself being the one to interview you.
Thank you so much. And to all of you out there, if you want to ask me any questions or anything, my Instagram handle is Miss America's Teen CA. And I just wanted to say thank you again to you, Emily. You watching your journey in this opportunity has been extraordinary. And I really, really hope that I'll get to see you competing on stage again soon, possibly. So we'll see.
Yes, fingers crossed. I have some plans for, my pageant journey so far and in the future to come. So
So excited to
we'll
hear it.
never know. Hey, maybe we'll be in the same Miss America class in the future.
You're so cool. Oh my gosh, I hope so. That would be awesome.
Yes, I know. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me. I had the best time talking to you, and best of luck at Miss America's Teen. I hope to see you there.
Thank you so much.
Of
See you
course.
guys.
Well, that was episode 8, all complete. I hope you enjoyed getting to hear all of Keira's stories and experiences throughout her time in the Miss America opportunity, because I know I did. This podcast will be going live on Spotify and YouTube at Titleholder Talks with Emily, and I will be sharing clips from this episode, previous episodes, and future episodes on my Instagram at Titleholder Talks with Emily. See you in the next one!